Ninzo gye tulida naguti. Ngemirime gye nkola nijo gino.
Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, please subscribe and we become friends. So for today we are going to learn how we make our local brew. We call it the alcohol, Waragi, whatever term you give it, and that's what we are going to learn today. And about my background here, we are in Budaka district, and these are some of the things that are done in the village, and we have an old mama who is going to show us the whole entire process of how it is made, how she does her business, and how she brews it. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something today. So the process begins with her brewing the molasses, and she has some sugary stuff that she uses to help up with the process. Then she brings it. What is happening here today is the cooking. I don't know whether that would be a correct term of cooking it, but the fire is lit and a tank, a metallic tank, and the alcohol evaporates and is cooled down in a pit. Then it moves over to the container, as you will see her explaining. About the language she speaks in Budaka, it is the Bagwere people, so it is the Bugwere language that is spoken. But of course, I'm here to interpret for you everything. I don't want you to miss some of what you could have been asking yourself of how it is made and how it is done. It is process by process. So what you're looking at is the preparation as she ties the tube that goes down into the water of the alcohol that is evaporating and is cooled. Then it drops down into the other jerry can. Going to her room for her to show us where she keeps the raw materials, the ingredients. It is sugar molasses, and around here they call it sukari guru. So she pours the molasses in there, and she turns like the way she's turning it. This is what the container she uses for brewing, and she mixes them from there. She's basically explaining this is what she uses to help the process of brewing. So I can assume it is something like a yeast. She brews it for a number of days, like 3 days. Okay, so she's showing you the place where she unties to pour in the molasses. It is tight because, you know, with the heat. Okay. She's checking her jerry can to see if it is not filled, because if you delay, it fills up and pours, and for her that is a loss. Out of that pie, she'll get 3 jerry cans. The first one is the tough one. For you, the experts, you know how it is called. I will ask later. Then the second one is the last one is the weak one. So she's cooling the tube. There is a pipe that comes from the tank, and this is the water that cools the alcohol as it goes on to join the others in the jerry can. You will excuse my look if I look sleepy. It is just very early in the morning, and so I came out and I said this is what I'm going to do. This other side is where they pour whatever has been cooked, and when it is done they pour it on this side. So I'm going to ask her about the dangers, because I've heard of times where the tank bursts because of too much either heat or pressure.
naona tusiwa usivi kaituteeka mudi tona nga tusubire ugoko naona tusiwa usi antu tusivi shakunukuti ngakidi esivire.
She tells me it is very risky, these things of heating, and yeah, there have been a number of cases where these things burst and people die, but it's a risk, and they are well aware, but they are trying to make some money and make ends meet. So, I mean, which job is not risky? Even you who sits in the computer or sits on a desk every day, doctors are telling you oversitting is going to kill you. So, those are the risks she has to take.
Kaisi ingezivikire eyo etambula mbanga.
She has been trying to explain, if you have heard of where these pipes explode, it's because when this alcohol is heated, it comes over into the pipes, and the pipe basically gets blocked. That excess pressure has to go somewhere, and so it results in the pipe in the tank exploding. Believe me, it's a difficult conversation around here because people do not want to talk about some of this, but yeah, like this side, if you talk about something bad, it is like you're wishing it upon yourself. So they never want to talk about this. It is almost like a taboo to talk about. I don't know how they will feel, but well, you needed to learn. So the explosions are caused by blockages. So she goes to explain it is not a matter of distilling and it ends there, but she has to ensure that the quality is good. She tells me if the first one is as dark as my jacket, that cannot be given to people. So that would basically mean a loss for her. And she's the quality control manager also. After brewing, she has to ensure that what she's giving out is suitable for people. I know most of you have heard of stories of where people go blind because of drinking illicit brew. So she has to fight for her reputation. That is the sort of thing. It's telling me that the first quality that comes out if you give to a child of pneumonia, you can't beat the sides, and you fail to hear such stories that if you give them, it breaks quickly. Of course, the doctors will disagree, but everywhere you go, people have their myths and misconceptions about certain things. I don't know if it has worked or not, but well, I've heard of those stories, and here we are. And here is the cooling pit, where there is water that cools down the alcohol as it leaves the tank. And here the tank is called pipa, which is something I think was got from the word pipe. You know how we like Africanizing English terms. You are looking at Bitu, the granddaughter of the old woman, and in Africa, when you hear Bitu, it simply means Beatrice, which has been shortened to Bitu. So let's continue, and we watch some more of the alcohol. She does not work alone. She has her brother to help her with with the fires and also testing. He does the testing too. He's also a quality controller, control testing controller. Does that? Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of the fire or the fuel for burning, I'm seeing here cassava sticks, soya bean, those dried plants, and also the ones for maize. That's what they basically use as for creating fire. And now on the second jerrycan, before she goes on to the third one, then the journey does not end there, but she has to mix it in she knows the way she does it. At the bottom of this pool of water is a coiled pipe. It is coiled such that there is much surface area for cooling to happen. Then you can have your alcohol at the end of it. So 3 hours later, she's done with the brewing and she wants to show us how she dismantles her whole setup. Those strips of rubber are got from the inner tube of a bicycle. Of course, they are used because when they are tied tightly, they do not give gap for anything to escape through. I can see she's very careful when she's going more and more in reduction because maybe there might be some pressure. But as you can notice, the fire was removed, so it has been cooling for some time. But to make sure there are no accidents, okay, the gas has come out a little bit. Removing the other side and letting the gas escape, she now comes to the main opening of the tank. If you hear me struggling with the tank, it's because the other name of pipa is always coming in my head. So she's pulling out the pipe. That's where the magic happens and the cooling happens. Then you have your Waragi in the bottle. I had to test how hot it is, and believe me, it is hot. It really gets hot. Yep, and you can see the steam rising. Okay, now she's turning to pour out whatever had remained. Okay. She has to ensure that the pipe has nothing remaining in it for the next making. If you're wondering about the praying, her brewery is next to a church. So it's all about staying together. I think that has filled in some gaps for you on how this stuff is made. I don't expect you to be thinking, you should have taken a sip of it and told me how it tastes. Believe me, I took that in most of my young days. I'm telling you from experience, that is a poison I will pass. Call it a joking matter, but we have been there. We know what it is like. And I cannot leave it without saying this. The World Health Organization warns that no amount of alcohol is safe. Even the little bit is harmful to you. But of course, it is just an advice. If you choose to burn your liver in whatever ways you want, I mean, nobody can decide that for you. So let's meet in the next video.